Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to you based upon when you're viewing this video. My name is John Moore, brand manager for global public sector here at Salesforce. And today it is my pleasure to be able to sit alongside our two guests for a fireside chat that we're calling Agenda 2021, Delivering Outcomes, Building Trust. And with me are Kathy Conrad, Director of Digital Government Services at Accenture Federal Services, and Casey Coleman, Senior Vice President of Global Digital Transformation at Salesforce. And both of these ladies are phenomenal, well-thought-out thought leaders. They have a breadth and depth of experience that I know that we're all going to benefit from. So the anchor for today's conversation is a paper that was published this summer by ACT-IAC, a neutral body that represents the perspectives of both industry and government leaders. And those leaders are working together toward one common goal. And that common goal is to improve the effectiveness of government. The paper is also entitled Delivering Outcomes, Building Trust. And the purpose of the paper is to provide nonpartisan guidance and recommendations to government leaders and policymakers. So we don't have all the time in the world to unpack all of the issues and topics that we could talk about, but we are going to hit some key topics of exploration. And we're also going to highlight many of the recommendations that are outlined in the paper. So lean in here because these insights will be both compelling as well as actionable. So I love that you bring to light the idea of augmenting human ability, freeing up people to be able to do what people do best. And that's to do very complex, very strategic thinking, to move beyond the mundane, because those are functions that can be taken care of by leveraging the technology solutions that we see in the market today, but also that emerging technology that we see coming to the fore. I think it's really important as we think about the workforce to consider deeply the approach to reskilling. I guess that is fair to consider for both your existing and new talent that you're bringing on board, because you're not just looking for young talent, but you're looking for smart talent that knows exactly how to optimize and leverage the latest technology the best way to continue to improve business processes. So let's talk a little bit about emerging technology and explore that, because we know that the pace of technology is doing anything but slowing. And what's encouraging is that we have actually seen some applications of emerging technology already put into place in a lot of government work. But many of those applications are fairly conventional. They're very effective, but it's clear that there's still a lot of room for exploration and growth. So I want to take a beat here to do a little bit of visioning. Let's just kind of paint the art of the possible for our listeners, and just think around what the true potential for emerging technology is to actually transform the way government works. So Kathy, if you want to start there, I'd love to get your thoughts first, and then Casey, you can follow on behind that.
Sure. So one of the images that we paint in our picture is, imagine a world where government anticipates your needs and knows what you want to accomplish and helps you do that without assistance through self-service tools. And that's certainly the direction the government is headed, as pointed out, accelerated by the pandemic. There are some new capabilities that have been put in place recently that I help get us closer to that ideal. So for example, Federal Student Aid recently launched an intelligent virtual assistant, cleverly named Aiden, that uses conversational AI and is really transforming the customer experience, students, borrowers, and their families. Aiden can answer questions, it can look up your loan balance, and it can actually help you make a payment right on the spot. And I think that's the kind of real-time self-service that will get us toward that world where technology augments our employees and helps people accomplish tasks on their own so that they don't need assistance and can have their needs met in ways that are not only kind of current, but can start anticipating and recommending content and pointing people toward other services and other information that's relevant to their needs now and into the future.
Yeah, and we've talked about customer experience, we've talked about data. The fact is that a lot of that data sits in very old systems that are very set in their ways and hard to update and hard to access. But emerging technologies are making it possible to leave those in place, but make use of that data, activate it, bring it up through APIs, and use it in customer-facing mechanisms to totally transform the front end experience. One really interesting example is at the VA, where they have connected with the ecosystem of social workers and nonprofits that operate homeless shelters. So if a veteran who's in a state of homelessness shows up at a homeless shelter, in the past, it was very difficult to be able to understand their status and be able to bring the full weight of services that they were entitled to. But they've now been able to, through emerging technology, surface that information in a way that is secure and appropriate, and they can find out this person is a veteran. We need to supply them with a housing voucher, get them into a temporary housing situation, and be able to start to think of them holistically and bring a range of services to them rather than just that single point of interaction. So that holistic view and the ability to use data, I think, is one of the most exciting areas of emerging technologies.
Yeah, and Casey, you point out something that I think is really critical, is that there's a lot of attention often paid to the public-facing part of government systems and services, because that's what's really sexy and exciting. Develop some new cool portal like farmers.gov or studentaid.gov or any one of other kind of digitally enabled services. But what you don't see is what's going on the back end. And modernizing back end technology is what powers and enables these front end improvements to be made. So we really need to think about, how do you accelerate modernization of back end government systems so that you can have more streamlined, faster transactions, so that you can take advantage of new ways to make quicker decisions by enabling on the back end the kind of operational horsepower that's necessary to deliver the experience that the slick front end promises.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I know that we could continue to go on. We could probably talk all day, but we don't have time for that in the time allotted to us. But again, want to thank both of you for your time, for your insight, and for sharing so freely with our viewers. For those of you who are interested in downloading the entire white paper, we would love for you to have a copy. So if you're accessing this from any social channels, you should see a link somewhere above this post that will take you to a page where you can download that full paper. Please keep an eye out for additional papers that are forthcoming. Thank you all once more for your time. Be well.